Well, hello everyone. In this particular tutorial, I'm going to show you how to basically develop a basic bot using Microsoft Bot Services and enable DevOps services using Azure DevOps. Well, Azure Bot Services is a bot service that is powered by Microsoft Bot Framework, which is running on Microsoft's cloud platform Azure. So this Microsoft Bot Framework or the Azure Bot Services provides an integral components for developing the bot, including the Bot Builder SDK and some of the bot frameworks for communicating bots to different channels which are available. Just to be very clear with the scope of this tutorial, well, this particular tutorial is not exactly a detailed procedure of developing a bot from scratch from Microsoft Bot Framework, or even understanding some of the bot frameworks like Bot Builder and Bot Connection and how the entire process flows. But this particular tutorial is more focused towards building a bot quickly using Azure Bot Services and setting up the required DevOps platform using Azure DevOps. So just to give you a highlight of the entire DevOps flow, so there can be like multiple developers working parallelly like this. So whenever certain changes is made, it has to be pushed in a particular branch, and all these branches has to be merged into a main branch. So this particular part of the flow is called continuous integration. So as and when changes in a like sub branch has been done, and once that has been approved by the main approver of the main branch, it has to be integrated or merged to the main branch. And once that is done, the particular code will be deployed and built, and it will be sent to production. So this part talks about the continuous delivery. So as and when certain features are added or certain bugs are removed or certain modifications are made, it has to be merged to the main branch. It has to be deployed and to be set for the release. And once that is done, there can be several platforms as well. For example, it can be for the dev platform, it can be for the staging platform, and finally it can be for the production platform. So this uh, part of the process is known as continuous delivery. So DevOps mainly talks about this CI/CD pipeline or continuous integration or continuous delivery pipeline. Coming to some of the prerequisites and the initial setups that need to be done before we can proceed further. So we would require a Visual Studio 2017 with the latest updates. A lower version like Visual Studio 2015 and up can work, but again, it is always recommended to use the latest one with the latest updates. The Visual Studio should have the required ASP.NET and web development toolkits installed in it. And in case if you are having any queries, I am sure that there are plenty of articles and plenty of blog sites where you will be able to get the complete guided like walkthrough how to install all these tools. But for keeping our scope shorter and keeping the entire tutorial within the given time frame, I'm not going to show you how to install all these prerequisites. And next, we should always have Visual Studio Bot Framework tools with the Bot Builder SDK, latest Bot Builder SDK installed in it. Uh, then Microsoft Azure subscription is definitely required. Without it, we won't be able to proceed any further. And Azure DevOps account will also be required to be set up. And it is something similar to a GitHub account, so it won't be very difficult. Now we will be moving to the Azure portal, which is ms.portal.azure.com. Now there I have created one resource group. So inside one resource group, we have to create the required bot web app. Now we have to go to create. So in the search marketplace, we have to go to AI plus cognitive services if it's there. Otherwise, let's do one thing. Let's search over here. Let's search. Oops, there's a typo. Yep. Let's search bot over here. It will give us all the recommendations. So we have to select the web app bot. Now, once we select this and then press create over here, creating it is pretty much straightforward. There won't be any difficulties. we have to give it a name. So let's give it a name like DevOps bot, if that works. It's validating. So it's saying that the requested bot ID is not available. So instead of DevOps bot, let me give it a name as DevOps bot 123. This should work definitely. Yep. We have to select the required subscription, the required resource group, the location, and let's keep it these things as basics. Even the bot template as basic bot template. Now here we have to do a app service plan. Since I don't have any, I have to create one. Make sure that the location is same, otherwise there can be a lot of conflicts. So I'm selecting the same location as the resource group and the bot. Azure storage, it is also creating one. Application insight, it is on, but right now we might not need it, but okay, let's keep it. And the location, we are going to select it as West US 2. So it is creating. We don't need this right now, it will auto create. Everything is being validated right now. Once that is done, we will get our bot. Now, as you see, deployment has been successful in our case, and all these resources have been created. So it creates one bot web app, it creates one app services for the bot, it creates one web application host server, it creates a storage account, and since we had selected application insights, so it creates this application insights service as well. So let's go to here. If you look at the high level architecture of the entire bot, so we will be having one web app bot like this. It should interact with Azure App Services, and finally it should have a storage account. And since we had selected the option of application insights, so the app services interacts with the application insights and gain some of the insights about the entire bot application. And all these resources are within the resource group which we had selected initially. So this is the entire high level architecture. Coming back to the Azure web portal, uh, since our bot has been created, we will be able to see these options. So there are some of the options or the resources that comes along with the bot web app. So we can use up this resource of planning to review the bot design for the best practices. We can build, we can test, we can publish the final thing from our local environment to Azure automatically with continuous deployment, which we are going to show, and we can definitely connect it to several channels. So in channels, there are multiple options that should be coming. So let's see what are the latest channels that comes in right now. So as we can see in the channels option, right now it is currently connected to the web chat one, which I'm going to show you right now just for testing the web app bot. And there are other featured channels like we can add it to Cortana, we can add it to a direct line channel, even in Teamsite, for Skype, and other options which are available is like in Facebook we can add it, in Kaizala, in Skype for Business, Twilio, WeChat, all these options are there. So it's basically adding the particular bot to an other like other external service and external channel, and we can use the chat bot there. For example, if we add the particular chat bot to the Teams channel, so in our team side, we will be able to see our bot live, and we can do the same chatting on whatever programming which we have done through the app in team site. Coming to the web chat option, so once we select this test in web chat, we can type our message over here. So this is a basic web app, web app bot. So if we type a particular message, it will echo back with the same message. That is ideally supposed to happen. Let's see what comes around here. the reply came. So it gave me with the reply of welcome to bot framework, get an overview, ask a question, learn how to deploy. What is your name? Okay, let me type that. Aditya. So let's see what's his response. So it says, hello Aditya, which city do you live in? Um, let's say I am right now in Hyderabad. Nice to meet you. If I say nice to meet you too. So anyways, our bot is not pre-configured with some of the custom messages. So it replied back with, I didn't understand what you just said to me. So we have to do some bit of programming to get started with a full-fledged bot. But our basic bot is ready. So what we want to show as a part of this particular tutorial series, we will be able to achieve using this basic web bot. Now let's go to the build option. In the build option, we can actually make modification to our bot. So we can build and set up a local development environment, download the basic source code of the bot that is currently in Azure and make manipulation on it and do continuous deployment. Or we can get a bot emulator, do the changes over there, deploy and test it from there. Otherwise, we can use the online code editor. So let's check the online code editor and let's see how it works. Yeah, so it opens our basic bot code in the online editor. So this is an app services editor. Since we had connected our bot with the Azure app services, we get this app services online editor. We can, if we want to make some changes, so if we can go to the particular, let me check the main code over here. Yeah, this is the basic bot code where we have plenty of intents which we can use, and if we want to make changes we can do it from here. And finally go to the build option, and if we execute it over here, all the changes that we do over here we can build and deploy through here. But since we are going to cover only the basic bot functionalities that comes up with the basic bot template, we are not going to make any changes to the existing code. Now I'm going to show you how we do it locally. And regarding this part, get the emulator. So we have a bot framework emulator, which I'm going to cover in upcoming tutorials, but not as a part of this tutorial, to keep it short so that it is well understandable and there is no difficulty in complete it within the time constraint which we have. So I'm going to download the bot source code from here. So it will create a zip file of the entire bot solution, and we can download the zip file and open it up in Visual Studio. Now let me open dev.azure.com, which is the online Azure DevOps portal. So as you see, if I load this, it will take to my organization over here. So you can have so many organizations stacked up like this. So this one is my personal project organization. Now if I create a project over here, I have to give a project name. Let me call this as bot DevOps. This project is for demonstrating, oops, another typo, DevOps flow for Microsoft, or rather Azure bot services. So I'm gonna make it a public. Yeah, so there are a lot of advanced features as well. For example, I can select Team Foundation version control or Git. I prefer selecting Git. And in the work item process, these are the several types of let's say, project type of management what we do. For example, it can have an agile framework, it can be based on a scrum framework. I prefer selecting agile. The project. So once our project is created, it will open a page like this with our project name over here. And there will be several types of boards which we will be using to conduct the entire project in a much more, let's say, standardized and formalized way, so that it will be difficult to manage and work when we work in a very large team. So okay, we can invite user groups or users using these options, but right now, since I don't have any, I won't add anyone, so that's why only I am the member over here. So we can add work items, even bugs, and in the board we can add certain work items or features which we can make. So this is the backlog board where we can add certain open items, certain bugs or features or any kind of recommendation that has been resolved, initially open but resolved now, and some issues that have been closed. So we can design our sprints and okay, it's opening. Okay, so we can plan and design our sprints. We can assign certain things to the different members. We can even post the artifacts inside this. So this is like the online repository, the entire repository for the complete project. So we can have anything, any information, or any such details that needs to be included for all the project members. We can have this like one stop site for the entire project. Project repo is ready right now. We can use this repo to push our local code from Visual Studio to this remote repository. We can do using command line, and we can also import a repository, an existing repository over here. But right now we don't want to do that. We want to push our local code to this online or remote repository. So for this, we need to make sure that we have this link. We will use this link in Visual Studio.
We have our downloaded version of the code, which we downloaded from Azure. Now we have to publish it to the remote repository that we have just created in Azure DevOps. So now if we go over here, we have copied the link, and here from Visual Studio, we have to open the Team Explorer tab, and then we will get this particular option where we have to choose Publish Git repo, where we want to push our existing code to a remote repository. So it will ask for my remote repository URL, and I'll try to publish the code. So now if you see the output window over here, it is trying to push uh, the existing code to the master repository. So if when all the code has been pushed to the online repository, we can go and check over here. So if we go from repos, if we go to files, it will show all the files that existed in our initial online editor. And if you see the commits, it will give me all the commits. So I had done it 8 minutes ago, and all the information about the pushes will also be displayed over here. Now, if I want to check how many branches I have for the particular repository, I can check from this option. Since I have only the master branch right here, it is showing me master branch. Otherwise, I can create a new branch with the branch name and the work item, and I can create another branch. So for parallel development where multiple developers work at the same time, the branching strategy is used. I can also use certain tags, and these tags are used to mark a particular checkpoint that is relevant to the repository, so that if I want to roll back to a particular checkpoint, I can easily roll back. For example, if let's say if I have released my version 1.0, so I can like add a tag over here and say that okay, my version 1.0 has been released, so that if I go to version 2.0 and if I want to go back to version 1.0 for certain reason, I can easily do that. Using this tags, it will it will become easier to keep a track of everything. And at the same time, if I want to check how many pull request has been done, I can check from here. So let's go to Visual Studio and make some changes, and let's see if the changes are getting reflected after it is pushed. So this is the particular file, echodialog.cs. Let's say here I want to change something. So a very minor change just to show you the functionalities. I'll say instead of say something, I'll write please say something. Okay. Now I saved it. Now let's say if I want to push my particular code. So if I go here and do a commit, I can say demo commit 1 as my commit command. Okay, another typo, too many typos today. And this one is being committed to the master branch. And since I have only one branch, uh, I don't need to select any branch right now. But let's say if I have to do it in another branch, I have to select the appropriate branch from here. So from here I do commit all. So this particular commit version has been created locally. I have to sync to share my changes with the server. So I do a quick sync over here. Once the synchronization has been done, I do a push. So you see the commit so and so created locally in the repository has been pushed to master. It has been successfully pushed to original master. Now if I go back over here and check my commits, see I got my demo commit 1. And if I go to pushes, and I will get the information that it has been pushed just now. Now if I go to files, and that was my, I guess, yeah, it should be somewhere over here, echodialog.cs. The contents should come up. Yep, it's loaded, it has been loaded. And yeah, this is the line where it says that I have made the changes. Now, a quick tip, if I want to go back to history and see these changes, I will be able to get the previous one. But let's say I don't want that. I can go back from here to the files. I can do a quick compare. That will be much easier. So from dialogues is the file which in which I have made the changes. I do a compare over here. So this screen opens where it says that this was my previous version of code. This red line demarks that. And this is the new version of the code. The green line demarks that. So this is where the changes has been done. So this has been, this minus sign says that this has been deleted or rather modified. And the add sign says that this has been the new addition that has been done to this particular line. See, it gives you the clear idea of where the changes has been done and what has been modified, so that it actually highlights the continuous integration part and makes it very easy to merge into the actual main branch. Now so far I haven't enabled the continuous integration and continuous delivery pipelines for Azure DevOps through Visual Studio, so I'm gonna do that. So from Visual Studio, first thing I have to do is right click over here and check whether if I'm getting this option, continuous configure continuous delivery to Azure. In case if I'm not getting this option, I have to make sure that I have this particular piece of the tool installed. So I have to go over here. Okay, let me check. I don't exactly remember. I didn't get from here. I have to go to get tools and features. Meanwhile, this opens. Yeah, so actually I have to go to extensions and updates, and from extensions and updates from online option over here, I have to go and search continuous delivery tools for Visual Studio in case if I don't have it installed. But if I have it installed, I will get this particular option where where I will be given two options of either disabling it or uninstalling it. That is because since I have already installed this. So in case if you don't have it, just go over here, search continuous delivery tools for Visual Studio and get it installed. And you would have to restart Visual Studio to make it active. But since I have it already, I will right click over here and do a configure continuous delivery to Azure. So it selects the repository, selects the master branch, will select my subscription, and we have to select the particular app services that we have already created. So this creates my Azure pipelines for continuous integration and continuous delivery. So I do an OK over here. So you see in the output bar, it shows you showing output from continuous delivery tools. So this is creating the Azure pipelines, and once it is created, I will be having two different kind of pipeline links to say that actually. So for using those pipeline links, I will be able to set up my CI/CD pipeline and make it work whenever I want to. So right now this is creating. So once the build pipelines has been created for Azure DevOps, which you see over here, we get a successful message, and it now saying that the builds are now automatically generated and deployed to app services, to this particular app service which we selected. Now these are the particular links for all the things. For example, Azure resource group, Azure app services, the DevOps project link, and these are the build pipeline and release pipeline links. So these has been like successfully created. In order to review the creation, we would have to head back to the portal, and if we select pipelines over here, so you see there are two kind of pipelines over here, build and release. So in build, you see the name DevOps bot 123, and it has appended with a CI character. So the CI means continuous integration. This is for making any changes, and if we want to build the particular code, we can do this using this particular pipeline. And if we go to the releases version, release is for continuous delivery or continuous deployment. So it creates this particular pipeline. So again, coming back to build, just to give you an explanation. So whenever certain changes has been done, we see that there is only one branch over here, the master branch. But in case if there are multiple sub branches, so whenever there are any changes done to the local machine, this particular pipeline will help to integrate the local machine changes into the local branch if we want to do it, and from there if we want to merge it to the master branch, this particular pipeline will help us do it. And if we want to go to the releases tab over here, this automatically helps to publish the code to Azure app services. Well, in order to understand the relationship in a much better way, let me do one thing. So let's go to releases, we select the particular pipeline, and let us edit the particular pipeline like this. So once we select edit, it opens this a screen which shows how the build drops from continuous integration or CI is linked with the environment deployment over here. So this is the particular build drop from CI, and this is deploying to the particular environment. So in our case, we have only one environment. We have the dev environment over here. We can also create multiple environment. For example, we can have a production environment, we can have a testing environment. So all these things we can have. Now for this case, since we have only one environment, uh, let's click under this drop icon. So it opens this artifact menu. So in the artifact, we can get some more insight. The build drop folders are the locations where the artifacts from the CI pipeline are getting published for deployment. So if you see over here, we can have we can select the latest version. We can so here, if you see, this is the particular build pipeline that is coming over here. So then like then as a part of the next step, the deployment process picks up the drop and publish it. For example, right now I haven't done any build, so yeah, so this particular part is not highlighted. If it is highlighted, I can select the particular option, and then I can like pick up the particular drop and publish it. Again, to know more about the build and release management process, let's select the individual definition for both the CI pipeline and the CD pipeline and review the internal tasks and flow. For example, if I go to task over here, we will find this option of deploying to Azure App Services. So this task is the only task which is getting executed and deploying to the build to Azure App Services. So if we select here, we will get all the information of the particular deployment. So with respect to the building definition, we must understand that the enable continuous integration option under the triggers tab is there. So if we go from here, so here coming to the triggers tab, from builds and then selecting the particular continuous integration pipe, we have to make sure that enable continuous integration is selected. Otherwise, the continuous integration won't happen. So this enables, or rather indicates, that the CI pipeline build will trigger as soon as there are any changes to the master branch. With all that, when we are clear about the backend definition and the working principle, we must go ahead with the test the overall CI/CD flow. Now, now let's go back to Visual Studio and make some changes over here. So if we make some changes, save it, and if we want to push to the git, let's say if you are adding commit 2, and if we do a commit all, we do a sync over here. Okay, so when this is done and when we do a push, it is initiating a push. So from here we can see commit 2. So right now it is in progress, it is in queue, it is not completely done. So when this is done, it will show that it's done. And at the same time, if we want to go to the release pipeline, and here we see that everything has been done. So let's select this. Yeah. So just a moment, I forgot to mention this. Once the integration has been done, it will show with a green arrow that it has been successful. So now considering the scope of this tutorial, I want to end right now over here. So coming back to this particular diagram, I showed you if we have like multiple branches, how we can push from the local machine to the respective branches. And once that is done, we can merge to the main branch. So this part is done by the source control, and this process or the flow is known as continuous integration. And once that is done, so from the CI pipeline, it goes to the entire CD pipeline or the continuous delivery pipeline. So for our case, since we had only a dev environment and we did not have any other staging or production or maybe testing environment in certain cases, we did not show the different version of these staging steps. But for dev environment, once the changes has been merged to the main branch and it has been pushed to the CD pipeline. So the from the CD pipeline, the code is published to the Azure App Services, and the required changes has been made to the final bot app.
So these are some of the references which I have taken to make this tutorial and to make it more understandable. I will be posting this link in the under section of the video. So yeah, I hope you liked the tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any queries, feel free to post it in the comment section. That will be it from my side. Thank you so much for watching again.